Okay, here we go. Ready, 1, 2, 3. All right, everybody. Well, welcome to the Team Fit Revolution Thursday night training. Tonight we've got another special person we want to introduce to everybody. Well, actually, probably no introductions needed because we all know who she is.
I am.
But it's new and improved.
Yeah, there you go.
So how this came about is we're trying to kind of see if we can kind of help a little bit more ourselves with being a little bit more high touch, I guess, with coaches and stuff like that. So reached out to kind of Jen and Karen and myself, and we've kind of been talking for a few weeks now, and just kind of going through, what can we do to help you take your business to the next level, get you going, and find out, what's holding you back, that type of stuff, and just have good conversation too, which is what we've kind of done too. And we've known Jen and Karen for a long time, obviously, and maybe Jen will share her a little bit of her story. And it's going to be more like a little interview, but what kind of struck me is that after a conversation, what was it, maybe 3 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago? 2 weeks, I guess.
2 weeks.
2 weweeks ago, and then we got another call, and all of a sudden I go, so how's it going? And she's like lit up. I mean, like on fire. And as I told her, she did more in 9 days than she's done in a year. And she had a whole and same with Karen, but we're going to start with Jen. So both kind of had, some good stuff. But the thing is, what is like, why we want to do this, because they're like the majority of coaches out there. They got life, they got jobs, they got struggles, they got, issues like we all have. But what happens with coaches sometimes is all of a sudden something different happens, a tweak. And Jen said it tonight on a leadership call. It might be one thing. There might be one thing she says that does it for you. It might be two things. It might be everything she says, but something shifted in Jen, and she's got a lot going on. And that's why I wanted her to be on this call, be featured on the call, so she can kind of tell her story, and tell what shifted in her. And maybe that'll put a shift in somebody yourself, or maybe put a shift that you can bring to one of your coaches. We got this recorded. So Jen, maybe for those that don't know, just tell them a little bit about your background, your career, and all that type of stuff, and the insanity that is part of your life. And
my crazy life.
And I'll try and rein you in from talking too much.
Yeah. Yeah, please do.
I do this.
Shut up, Jen. Shut up. I'm a rambler, so I'm sorry. But I started off as a single mom, bankrupt, had literally filed bankrupt. Brittany was, a good girl. I had no problems with that, but was single and money was tight and working and hated life and this and that. And had been an athlete my entire life, got through all that, had very, very, gained a lot of weight. It was about 250 pounds. Got into a career that allowed me to pay the bills. In the meantime, I had joined Beachbody, but didn't believe in it or myself. Believed in it, but just not myself. So with my career, I got to travel the country working for different hospitals as a surgical assistant, which is the person that hands the scalpel, that suctions the blood, that holds the organs, takes the legs off when you amputate, those kind of things. And I loved it. I did. I loved it for a long time. But I traveled, and in my traveling, I would stay at motels, or I would stay at hospitals, or I would stay, in apartments all over. Well, my daughter had, in the meantime, had my grandbaby. And so I was missing a lot of stuff. And as much as the money was good, I was really missing home. And I got to the point where I was miserable in my job. And so I've, in the meantime, met someone, now engaged, and called him and said, I want to come home. He was on the road as well, so we never saw each other. Like literally we saw each other maybe once a month, if we were lucky, twice a month for a day. And that's not a healthy relationship either. So I said, I need to do something with my life. I'm not happy. What is it? What am I going to do? Financially, with his job and with the help of what I was making with Beachbody, was like, that'll be a little bit of extra, just kind of, maybe buy groceries for the month or the week or whatever. Was not making anything, really, because I wasn't applying what I knew. So with my job, I quit. And it's really, to me, the only thing I've ever really been good at, and I excelled at it. I was really, really good at it. but I wasn't happy in it anymore. I was belittled. I was treated horrible. It was away from home, long hours. So I just was done. In order to come home and do the same job, I would take a $600 a week pay cut. So I would be demoted to come home to be closer to my family and work holidays and work more call and have to put up with more crap because these doctors wouldn't treat me as good as they did since I was a traveler. So that was not something I wanted to do. So I came home. I'm just now moved back to where I grew up. Kenny is now on the road as well. And I have started college and I'm excited about it. I feel like I'm actually doing something with my life. But in the meantime, I have struggled with Beachbody, with just finding my way, trying to figure out, is it really for me? And there's been many, many times that I've told Carla or told Karen and told Angie and Blake, it's like, I'm done. I'm just done. This is not, I don't think this is for me. I don't think it's where I'm supposed to be. And gone to summits, gone to trainings, gone to all those things, and just never applied them, I guess, the way I knew I should, I think is what it kind of came down to. I think that's what my problem was. And then the self-worth of believing that I was worthy of having, the dream that I wanted, whatever dream that is, for me. And so I didn't believe that it was possible. I really honestly didn't believe it. Even though I saw the Lindsay Mataways and, Shalene and Chris and all those guys and Scotty Hobbs. And, I follow them and I think they're great, but I didn't think I could honestly ever have what they have. And so that's where my flaws came into effect.
Right. So when did you start?
I started, in 2009, I think, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Yeah, 2009, something like that. A long time ago. Yeah. A long enough time ago that I should have known this by now. I should have already been there by now. But you kind of, if you don't believe in yourself and in what you're doing, you don't fight for it, and you don't see that your work is actually getting put towards something really worthwhile. You're just floating by. You're just paddling and going nowhere. You're paddling upstream and not seeing the results because you're not really digging the oars in deep to really push to go up the stream and get to the top of the waterfall and look down and see the gorgeous beauty below. So it's kind of one of those things that you just struggle with.
Right. So then 2 weeks ago, we got on the phone with Karen and started just talking and putting some ideas together. We came up with, we kind of backed the business out, right? We kind of said, where do you want to go? And then we got it down to, okay, we've kind of figured out that on average, if you talk to 10 people, you'll probably sponsor 1 or 2, right?
Right. Give or take. Yeah.
And that's a rough estimate that works once you get, once you've done this for a little bit and depending upon the people you talk to. And right. So we kind of just backed it out and kind of came up with a number for her. And we said, well, then here's what we want you to do. Or I wanted her to do is I wanted you to say, there's a thing if you watch Eric War, he's one of our guys, the main guy for like that we use outside training and stuff. And he's got training he does called, it's kind of bringing in your class of 20, meaning bringing in 20 people in 1 month, which we know not everybody can do. But so we kind of came up with what did Jen want to do? Got a goal from her, what she wanted to do. We backed it all out, and it came up that I think it was 50 people this month, 40 or 50 people was what
yeah. It was between 30 and 40, and we said, let's just do 40. Just go big.
Yeah. So. And that's talking to 40 real people, not,
Real, yeah. And that was one of the things that I struggled with. And Karen and I have had this conversation was, inviting, we tell people to invite people. And I always felt like I was, but I wasn't really inviting people. I was just having conversations with people. And if they brought up anything, then I was all about it, or I'd mention it, hoping maybe it would catch, like fly fishing. You just kind of throw it out there and jerk it back and see if anybody snags. And so it was never really inviting that I did. I just had a bunch of conversations that don't lead to anything unless, you actually invite. So Karen and I decided, we talked. And for me, it was what I needed in my eyes was to go back to the basics. Yes, I've been a coach for 9 years, but I wasn't mastering the 3 simple basic things that I needed to do that every coach needs to do. And those are the 3 vital behaviors. You've said invite. The more people we talk to, obviously, the more people we're going to bring in. But how do you invite? And for me, that was kind of one of those things. It was like, how do you do that? Do you say the right things? Am I saying the wrong things? Am I not? There's a whole complex thing that we do in our heads when we go to talk to somebody because we think we have to do it correctly in the right way, positive. This is the only way to do it every time. And we don't. And that's kind of where it started to trickle into my head. Like, okay, you're going to look at this a little different because you're already thinking a little different. And so when I thought, okay, I'm just going to go back to the basics and master those 3 things, then I bet things would change because I'm not a master of any of them yet. Nothing. I'm just like, okay, I'll go talk to people. Okay. But I don't want to just go talk to people. I want to be able to be in a store, anywhere, walking a dog, doing like we talked about with the role playing later and be able to nail it every time. Like, I don't want to have to hesitate and think, how do I do this? Or, oh, am I going to come off this way? And so going back to the basics was important to me. And that's where it really started to make me think about how to do this business. And so then we decided on the 40. The 40 came. And we decided that on the 2nd of the month, 2nd or 3rd. And we did the next week, we did the call, the 2nd call.
Yeah. And we came back. We set 40, and how many did you talk to in 7 days? 9 days?
7 days, I talked to 56 people. And it was one of those so easy. By 10, it was like, this is nothing. And it was, the hard part for me was the first beginning of what to say and how to say it. Because I didn't want to come off as a salesperson. None of us do. And that is one of the biggest fears. And that's one of the biggest fears my new coaches have is I don't want to be that salesperson. And I don't want you to either. I don't want to be that salesperson. I don't want anybody to be that salesperson. So it was taking the time for each person that I talked to and looking at their life and asking myself, like honestly asking myself, like what is going to stir up some emotion in them? And dedicating that whole invite to them and not being scared to target that. If I had a person that was a single mom, that I knew she was struggling, and that's a touchy subject when you're a single mom because you already feel like you can't do for your children. You already have these doubts of who you are and what you can do and accomplish, and I can't buy them shoes. And I remember those feelings. So when I wrote to these single moms, each one separately with it wasn't a formatted copy and paste. I went to that structure of, I know what it's like to not be able to buy those shoes. I know what it's like to not be able to, do things that you want to do with your children. I know what it's like to be adopted by a family from a church for Christmas presents for Christmas. And that's how I approached them. I went to where it hurts. And I wasn't doing it in a way to belittle them or make them think anything less of themselves. It was a way of saying, look, I get it. And this is what helped me get out of that. It really did. And it's amazing what the conversation and the response back was and how positive and how fast they opened up to me to discuss it and talk about it. Now, there were people that I didn't know very well that had issues. I don't know what everybody's issues are because some people leave them locked up. Or I had people that were very, very successful that I wanted to talk to, and I didn't know how to talk to them, or I was always scared to talk to them. And so I just took the time for each person and really looked at their page and really looked at who they were and what I could see that they had struggled with. Because if you look at anybody long enough, you can find where their struggle is inside of them, And I went straight to that on each one. And it was a straight opportunity of business to get them out of that situation. It wasn't selling a challenge pack. It wasn't joining a group. It was, this is a business opportunity for you so that you don't have to ever, ever feel that way again if you don't want to. And that's how I approached every single one of them. Straight to the point, no BSing, and hit them where it hurt. I mean, and I don't know how to word it nicely, but that's exactly what I did.
So what shifted in you though? So what, because you've had these are all people you've had kind of in your list for several years, and you've been dabbling a little bit here and there, and kind of you have a little spurt. But I guess what I want everybody here to see is like what they might be able to pull out of it is what shifted in you to sit there and go, I want to do 40 people this month, and then 1 week you do 52.
For me, I wish I could pinpoint that it was this exact thing, and I think it's a combination. For me, one was Kiana's story, that as successful she has become, she wanted to quit 3,000 times and didn't. And that for me was like, okay, that's cool. That's cool to know. She's not all these successful people don't just take off and go, it was the personal development. Personal development, I cannot preach enough, has played such an important part in that positive change. But the book that we're reading now, I think really made me stop and dig inside and release a lot of forgiveness in myself over who I was. That had a huge part in letting go of the past and not looking back at how I've failed all these times, and looking at how I can move forward. What's ahead of me, not what's behind me. And that was huge. It was so huge for me. And it also was having these accountabilities of talking and just discussing ideas and things, and feeling like, you know what, I can do this. This is not rocket science. And then one of the big ones was that I don't want to, when school ends in 2 years, when I get my degree, I don't want to go to work. I don't want to. I mean, I really, honestly, that was a huge thing for me. I've enjoyed this last month off of not working and being able to just, work the business and take my college classes and spend time with my grandbaby when I want. And for me, that's all I want. And so I want to go ahead and finish school, but then when the time comes to graduate, I don't want to have to go and push a time clock states away from my babies and have to ask permission to come home to see them. So the mind switch was a little bit of combination of everything. It was from the personal development to hearing that everybody feels the same way. I'm not the only one that says I'm done over and over and over. And just reading the personal development and making that decision myself that you are worthy, letting go of all the demons that I've had inside of me that are telling me that I'm not worthy of whatever I want. And instead of, I told you last night when I messaged you that, my goal is to be invited to Eric's birthday party with you guys one day. Like, I remember, and that's huge to me. It may not be, that nobody else may care, but for me, that's like huge. I've always wanted to go. And before it was like, oh, that would be so cool. And now I just feel it like, oh yeah, it's going to happen. Just wait. It's going to happen. There's no doubt now in my mind. There's no doubt. So it's getting just digging deep and letting go of whatever you're scared of, and just saying, you know what, it's not going to control me anymore. It's not. I'm not going to be scared to be okay in this business. And I'm allowed to say I'm done at times, but I'm not allowed to just walk out on something. I'm not, especially this business.
For what?
So the common theme here again is,
oh, we got your shorts?
personal
Oh, awesome. Very cool.
I don't know who that is.
I muted it, I think.
Okay.
One common thing.
Robin on the iPhone, please mute your phone. Thanks.
Yeah, I think I muted her. Well, so there's a couple things here. One that I think you have somebody that's on here too that's helped with this is you got a success partner.
Yes. Karen has been my savior. Karen has been my savior and grace, and I don't know how else to explain. She is my sister in every aspect. And I've only met Karen personally once, right? Eric Worre's been twice. Oh, well, the crew, Cancun. Yeah. Okay. Cancun. How could I forget Cancun? Oh my God. I got Eric Worre on the brain. So, but I've seen her online, just like you guys see me online and see everybody see each other. And I met her last year at Eric Worre, and it just clicked. It just clicked. And since then we have been inseparable. And having, literally, honestly, guys, find a success partner. Find somebody that you connect with on a deeper level than just Beachbody, because this company is great, but you're only going to go to the next level and take it as far as you want when you are in your life in a deeper level. And Karen has helped me deal with demons. She's helped me laugh. She's helped me cry. She's helped me kick butt with like, get off your ass and go do something. You got shit to do. Like, that is her. She's my partner in all aspects. And I would be lost without her daily Zooms. We Zoom every day. And that is so important because it's a relief that I don't have anywhere else. And it's been amazing to be able to bounce ideas. We have a chapter we read every night in our book, and we get together, and she keeps me on target with that. You know, I have a lot going on and she has a lot going on. And if I don't post in our Emerald training group, she'll boot me. Like, there's no slack. And that's what I need, unfortunately, but that's what I need. And she's there to be that brutal truth person. And she's made it amazing to be able to share ideas and discuss what we can or couldn't do, or, hey, I'm thinking about doing this with my team. Whatever we're discussing, and the brutal honesty of saying, I don't think that's a good idea. I don't think that's going to work. And you need that. You don't need somebody that's going to go, oh yeah, that's a great idea. Go do it. And then they're like, that ain't going to work. Girl, don't know what she's doing. That's not helpful. And I won't do that to my team, and I will not accept somebody to do it to me. So you need that. It's so, so important. So important. And it's great for when I can't be available, especially when I'm going to be in college class in class and I can't talk to a prospect and they're writing. I know that Karen's got my back, and I know Karen will step up and say, hey, I got you. What do you need? Jen can't talk. And she knows I do the same thing in a heartbeat for her. And you need that. We're stronger together as a team in all aspects of our business and our life. And it goes hand in hand in my eyes.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Well, the other thing you touched on too is that maybe slipped by people, but you know, the company talks a lot about challenge groups and challenge packs, that type of stuff. But like myself, we've built the business 99% talking about the business opportunity. To my standpoint is there's just as many people that are hurting financially out there right now as there are people that are overweight. And frankly, there's a good cross section of the people that have to deal with both issues right now. Mm-hmm. And so I came from an area where I was taught how to build the business, doing the business opportunity. The company's kind of taken on the culture of, challenge groups. But so you, with this group of people, Jen, you started talking more business opportunity. So maybe
yes.
Talk on that a little bit.
I've always approached people, like I said before, with just like buy a challenge pack because I was so focused on getting the Success Club points, which is cool. You know, everybody wants to earn that free trip. Everybody wants the free whatever they're giving away each month. And I'm not degrading that at all. It's great. It's a great way to get people in to help them. It's the best way to help somebody. But if you really want to make a business, customers aren't going to do that. You can convert some. Yes, I'm not saying you can't. But if you're going to build a business and want to build it fast, then you need coaches. Bottom line. I mean, if you figure out and you do the numbers, which I was going to do, and then this day just hasn't worked out. In order to make 1,000 a week, let's say, how many customers would you have to have every day buying something compared to having 1 or 2 customers and a solid rocking team underneath of you? And that's just for $1,000. Like, if you want to make 2,000, whatever your goal is, compare the number of coaches you have to the number of customers you have to have. I mean, it just makes sense, doesn't it? I mean, it just is amazing to me. So in order to business, like I woke up, I'm like, okay, I want people that want to do this. I don't want to have to talk somebody into like, oh, this is great. You love your P90X or you love your Insanity or whatever you're doing. Hey, did you know you can do this? And make some money, where that's really what I want them to do. Instead, I'm cutting through that BS and I'm going straight out and saying, look, you need money. We all need money. Everybody needs more money these days. So why would you not join a company or join my team or join me or however, we end up wording it, that it's going to give you all that plus help you lose the 30 pounds that you're griping at every day on Facebook about. Like, why? It just makes no sense. And so when that finally triggered in my head, like, okay, I'm going to have 50 customers every week, brand new customers every week to make up for 1 or 2 rocking coaches. Like, that seems like a lot more work Like, I mean, we work with our teams and we help our teams build, and that's work. But I'm all about working smarter, not harder. And so that just made sense. And Eric, that was one of the things that my aha moment last year, Eric Worre. So it's not like this is a brand new concept to me. It was just the fact of going, okay, Jen, like I said at Cancun, I'm lazy. I just wasn't doing it. Now I'm done being lazy. Like, I don't want to have to punch time clock, and I enjoy what I do, but you just gotta do it. And once it starts rolling and you see how easy it is to invite and get that rhythm down, it just was like, oh, that's all I gotta do. And being able to say no is okay. Like, okay, whatever. And I was listening to Ray Higdon today on his podcast, and he was talking about inviting and just how nonchalant, it's not a sales pitch. It's not a, and one of the things he says is, if they say no, okay, I didn't think it was for you. I was just giving it a shot. You're right. It's not for everybody, like, well, why isn't it for me? Why isn't it for, well, you just said it wasn't. So it's okay. If you're okay with the way your life is, I'm good. That's fine. I'm not trying to convince you your life's horrible. That's your job. I'm just offering better. So there's different ways to, to be tactful about it, but that's kind of what he was saying. So personal development's huge, and just stepping out of that box and going for the things that you didn't think you could accomplish.
And what was why don't you share a little bit about the book? Because I know we talked about it, I bought it and I started reading it. But that book was, The Rider and the Elephant, and that has some, you can share the name of the book too, because I think just talking to you and Karen, that was a lot of conversation we had about that. And that book kind of seemed to kind of hit you right between the eyes. So maybe share.
It did. Karen and I bought this book. We happened to buy it at the same time. We didn't even know it. We both bought it last year. Scotty Hobbs was on his list, and we were like, well, we'll buy it. And literally after Kiana's call, I hadn't been doing the personal development. I'm not going to lie about it. And so she made such an important statement about how it's so important. And she's right. It is. It really affects how we look at all aspects of our life, not just with Team Beachbody. So I said, we were packing up to move, and I was looking around, and Karen and I were on a call, and she's like, well, which book do you want to do? And I was like, well, she was like, let's do this one. I'm like, okay. And I went to look, and everything's packed but one book. And it happened to be Switch is the name of the book. And I don't know who it's by. I'd have to look. I can post it later. Karen, do you have yours right there? No. Anyway, so it's called Switch. And I didn't even really know what the book was about. I just knew it was referred by Scotty. So we both took the wrapper off of the book. That's how long we'd had it and hadn't even cracked it open. Like, I'm tearing the cellophane off of it to read it. Had it a year. And the book basically teaches us how to look. We both have what they call an elephant and a rider. And our elephant is our emotional side. And our emotions are huge. They play such a big, important part in all aspects of our life. They rule on everything if you really think about it. And the rider is your intellectual side trying to control the elephant. Well, you can tell an elephant how many tons, and you're not that many tons. I don't care if you think you are or not. And so when your emotions are running and going, you can only hold on as that rider to stop them and control those emotions for so long before you just go, I'm done. Think about it. Dieting. You want to eat, you want to eat, you want to eat. Finally, the rider says, fine, go eat. I don't care, whatever. You give up. And so it teaches us how to deal with those two aspects of ourselves, as well as finding that in other people. So that's kind of where I started playing with on how to invite and how to switch how I was talking to people, instead of just striking up conversations, to find what their elephant was, and use that, because that's what plays such an emotional part of all of our decisions. And so the book really hit home with me, and I took it in the first 4 chapters. I told Karen, I'm like, yeah, this is great for the business, but for me, it's like it's making sense. It's like getting it. It's like it was made for me. And so reading that made me look at how I talk to my parents, how I talk to my daughter, how I look at my finances, how I look at my Success Club partner, how I talk to Kenny, our relationship. And just building on all those aspects of my life, everything just started to kind of make sense. And I could sit down and just relax more, and think outside the box and not worry so much. I know it maybe sounds weird, but it just clicked in my head that this is how you talk to people. This is how you, with all people, you have to, I can put out a spreadsheet of why coaching is amazing and have all these lists of things. And that's what this book kind of tells us. We can do that. But if it doesn't strike your elephant, your emotional side, you don't care, right? I mean, honestly, you don't care. Look at commercials on TV all the time. If they don't strike your emotion somehow, then you don't watch them. You care less. I've watched ones I don't even know what it was about, but it had me laughing. But at the end of it, I'm like, I don't even know what that commercial was about, but that was funny as hell. Like, so but it's true. We have to learn how to talk to people about on their elephant, but we use our intellectual side to try and control that too much. And that's kind of where the book was about. There's a lot more to it, but for me, that's the book.
That's the audio.
And it's very, very easy reading. I also like the parts they use examples of different companies or how somebody changed a whole company by these simple little steps. I think the main thing in the book that got me was I have a lot of demons from my past that have haunted me for years and years and years, and I've never been able to let them go. And one of the parts in the book talks about psychology and how when you go to a psychiatrist, you know, what they do. Well, let's talk about what happened when you were 10. How does that make you feel? You know, what do you feel about that? What do you know, blah, 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 blah. Well, now the studies are showing it doesn't matter. You can't change that. You can't change that. So the new psychology method is instead of worrying about what's back then, it's about where you are today and what works in your life and makes you happy and why does it make you happy, and using that to make other parts of your life happy. And that's kind of where I kind of started with the psychology part with that. Okay. This makes me happy and why. Okay, so then if that makes you happy, let's implement those tools into these other aspects and forget about what happened because you can't change it. You just let it go. So the book was huge to me.
Okay. Sorry, did I cut you off?
No.
So if anybody has any questions too, put them in the chat or raise your hand when we're almost done here. And if you have anything for Jen, we can keep it open. You touched on another thing. So there's four key things here that I think that happened, but you touched on one more thing. And as you started making those calls, this is where people have the biggest problem is picking up that 500-pound cell phone, right? Or whatever they're using. And that's the biggest thing. It's the fear of rejection. It's the, oh, what if they say no? It's all the negative stuff that starts going through people's brains. But something happened, you know, first of all, you flipped the switch and said, okay, I'm just going to do it. But tell them what else was it. Obviously it gets, let's just say way easier after you've done a few of them. And then it become like, oh, wow, this is like water on a duck's back, blowing off the duck's back, right? So maybe share with everybody what, you know, that first call was like versus where you're at today now, just a little bit short 2 weeks later, what it's like to pick up the phone now.
It's a whole different world now. Obviously the first ones you're kind of like, God, you know, I don't want to hear the rejection. I don't want to hear it in their voice and or on the text or whatever however you're doing it. You don't want that. Or the worst, having doing the instant message, having them see your message and never writing back. Right. I'm like, girl, I know you saw my message. I know you did. I see it. It says you've seen it. So don't ignore me. And then a minute later, liking a picture on your page. Right. Like, really, you can't write back and say it's just not for me, but that's life, you know? So that was one of the things that, you know, you just kind of get over. So for me at first, yeah, it was hard. It was like, okay, here we go. But in the mindset going and already knowing that if I'm going to talk to 40 people, cause that was the goal, that probably half of them are going to say no. 3/4 of them are going to say no. I was going to be happy if I could get 2 people to have a conversation with me out of 40. Was like, okay, then I know I'm doing something right. So when the first ones were saying no, or, you know, one would write back and say, okay, well, let's talk, you know, then that was like, oh, okay. And it became a conversation. It was easier. By the 10th person that I talked to, I was like, next thing I know, I'm like, I've got people messaging me online now because now as I'm talking, I'm also writing other people like, hey, let's talk. It came like, oh, you're not going to get it. It kind of came like this is easy. Like it just became so easy that there was a couple people on my list. There was 3 actually that were, in my eyes, so successful. They didn't need me. They don't need Beachbody. They're already successful in their business. One of them is a trainer in Kansas City. And so what was I going to offer him? And that was my Facebook. I've been friends with him, 2 of them for years. And the other one just not even a month. Yeah, about a month. But so as I started and people were responding lightly, or ignoring me, it just was like, okay, I don't know what to do. Okay, whatever. So I was doing that. I remember Karen and I got on Zoom and told her, I was like, yeah, I got the 3. I'm going to work my way up to it. And she was Karen and my brutal sister and said, hang up, you do it now. Right now. No, just do it. And so I said, okay. So I didn't have, because my partner was waiting to hear the results. So these 3, I didn't call them. I Facebooked them. I instant messaged them. For me, it was easier to do that. I knew I was going to clam up. But I knew I would ramble, or I would go too fast, or I wouldn't put it in the way I wanted to. So I went to each of their page, just like the other people, and looked at their page and got to know them more than I was like wanting to, and straight out told, the one that's a very, very successful trainer in Kansas City, told him, like, I know businessmen are smart and you are so successful in your business and it shows, and I'm so proud of you. And honestly, I have been intimidated to talk to you for years now, but I'm going to today. And so I'm a coach, this. I know that you're a successful businessman, and I don't know if you're open to other businesses, other avenues of residual income, but I know most successful people like yourself are always open to new ideas. So I'd love to talk to you about coaching and what it can do for you. And so give me, let me know. That's exactly what I wrote. And he wrote back with a phone number and said, let's talk. LOL, I love the beach. LOL. I'm always open. And he wrote always in all caps, always open to talk about making more money. Call me tomorrow. So, it was just like that right there signified that 20 no's didn't mean anything. If I could do what I just did, whether he signed up or not, I went above and beyond what I've been trying to do for years now. And that to me was huge. And the other 2, so 2 of the 3 are signing up for sure. So
Signing up what?
The 2 of the 3 that I talked to, 2 of them are signing up for sure. He and I are when I did call, he forgot he was at a Royals game that next day. So obviously he can't talk when he's at the Royals game. And so we're still contacting each other and have plans to call tomorrow and talk. The other one is signing up tomorrow. So besides the other just regular, I say regular, besides the 2 that weren't on my scared list, I guess is how to describe it.
Your guru list.
Yeah. Yeah. I have more that are coming on this week besides those 2. So
now that's what I wanted to kind of maybe close it out with, because we're on here, and I'll recap it all. But so 2 weeks, about 53 phone calls, and you're about how many people you think you got so far? You still got another, 19 days in the month left, so you're blowing it out of the water. So where are you at without that group, and how many people you think you're pushing over to the line of coach right now?
Well, right now I talked to 56. I actually had conversations with 20 to 24 of them. I can't exact number. And people that are saying, yes, I'm in, but either because of financial, hey, I want to do it on my payday, or, I'm on vacation, I'll be back, and then we'll do it. I have a total of 7 that are ready to saying, yes, we're going to go. Yes, I'm very excited. And for me, my fear now is stopping. So I'm not allowing myself to stop. So when I found the other day, I wrote Karen and said, hey, I need a Zoom call. I've talked to everybody. I've got everything lined up. I was sitting down to take a break, but there's shit to do. So I need to know, like, what do I need to do? What do I need to do? I want to go take a nap, but it's 4 p.m. I shouldn't go take a nap. And we got on a call, talked for, I think, an hour. And then by the time I got off the call, it was like, okay, I'm back in drive mode again. And I had to post still. I had to do some team stuff. But it's the whole go back into groups that aren't Beachbody groups and start rebuilding more friendships and more foundations. Because even though I have talked to 56 people and I have 7 signing up, or, whether they do, we're still in that. I don't count them until they're in, for sure, until they're coaching. But it's only the 10th. I still have a whole rest of the month. And when you told me the 40, we're only going to touch 40, I turned to my calendar and I wrote 100. So I'm not done by any means. But since I've reached out to almost every possible person I know and that's friends on Facebook, I'm doing new things to add. I'm adding probably 15 to 20 new friends a day. And it's nothing to do with Beachbody. So now I'm 20 people a day, just building a foundation. So in a week or two, or however it plays out, they can. And actually daily, one of those 20 is writing saying, hey, I saw your post. My posts are different now. I'm focusing my posts in certain ways and really thinking about my pictures and how to do those. And those are making a difference. So it's just rethinking how and going back to the basics and mastering those.
Yeah. As we say in the profession, yes, we master the mundane. And people go, what do you do to be successful? I do the same thing I did 3 years ago. There's no secret sauce, it's just doing it.
And that was one of the things that I think a lot of new coaches I know, for me and Karen and I have talked about before, is our coaches, we did the 3 steps. We did this, we did this. We went to the trainings. Now we've done those things. So what's next? We're waiting for the next thing that we're supposed to do, because we're obviously not getting anywhere with these 3. Instead of mastering those 3 things, it's 3 things. It's 3 simple little things. I mean, that's it. Like, I'm studying calculus and all this other crap that don't mean anything, that are hard. This is 3 things. Learn how to talk to somebody, learn how to post, learn how to be nice and help them out. Like, that's not hard. So it just is, there's nothing after those 3 things. And that's what is like, maybe that was my aha moment. There's nothing else.
Well, you're doing the 3 vital behaviors too. Invite, product with product, and personal development. And so you're inviting like a mad woman, which is awesome. So
I kept waiting for something else. I kept waiting for, I remember you at the Eric Worre thing saying, what did you get, on day 2? What are you getting out of this? And I remember looking and going, there's so much, I don't know what to get. Like, my brain's like, there's so much. And there was. And then the next day, sitting there, and it hit me that all these people up here and these millionaires up here are not telling us how to sell challenge packs. We're Eric Worre's master, class. That's amazing. And all these millionaires from, I think the youngest was like, 19 or 18 or something, 20 maybe? I don't know. He was young. And all the way up to, 60s and 70-year-old people. And they're all up here talking about how to be successful in their business. And not one of them said anything really about, I sold this much in product. I held this home classes or Shakeology parties or whatever. None of them talked about that. The only thing they talked about with making their business successful was, I recruited, and I didn't stop till I had the recruiting numbers that I told myself I was going to have for the month, and I was like, that's the aha moment. That was then, but I still hadn't implemented how to get to that. But I'll never forget that aha moment. You want to build your business, it's all about recruiting. It's all about recruiting. You can't do it without that.
Okay, so here's what I'm going to sum this up, and then I'll let Jen I'll let her close it out, and just say her final words to everybody. But this is what I took away from this, and it's, here again, it's not rocket science, but get a success partner. Karen's been invaluable to her. I mean, that was key when she's sitting there going, I don't want to, make this call right now. And Karen tells her, you make the call right now, and then, hang it up on her almost, and so you want to get a success partner, but you want to get one that's a butt kicker too. You don't want somebody that's going to be like, you know, like Jen said, that, you know, if she goes, well, I don't want to make that call right now. And then she goes, yeah, you probably shouldn't. You know, you want somebody that's going to ride you like that. So you want to get a good success partner. And Jen's done the same for Karen. We'll have Karen on here pretty soon too, because she's done some amazing stuff and share her story too. Personal development. So this is like Beachbody's mantra, you know, and you heard Kiana last week, the one thing that changed her entire business, and the only thing that changed it was doing personal development, massive amounts of it. And Jen hadn't been doing that. So she found a great book that resonated with her, and she got to, you know, how she can communicate with people effectively. So take a look at that book, Switch, and see if it's, you know, get it on your, you know, download it. She talked to successful people. That's a big one. There's a lot of people, you all know them. Everybody on this call has people that are successful. And just because they look successful on the outside does not mean that there's people that are making great money, but they're miserable because they're working 60 hours, 70 hours a week, or who knows what the problems, you know, they might have. Maybe they just hate their boss or something, but she made a big aha moment. So don't be afraid to talk to people that appear to be successful. Just because they have money doesn't mean they are. And so, and then the other thing, it gets easier. So picking up that 500-pound phone, I mean, this thing, you know, weighs what, how many ounces or whatever it is. But when you go to do something with this business, you're sitting there and you're going, you know, and granted, she's texting and she got some people chimed up, but she got the call. She ended up at the end of the day, she had to talk to people on the phone. And sometimes you're looking at this thing and going, oh, man, put it back down. It's like, okay, you get the first 3 numbers dialed in. And, you just got to do it, you know, and that's all we do is we talk to people. That's what successful people do. Like Karen said, or Ken or Jen said, everybody on the stage, you know, Eric Worre's event, they pick up the phone, they just talk to more people. That's the truth behind it. So 3 vital behaviors, you know, it's the basic stuff. You're going to hear this over and over again as we bring people onto these calls, you know, but what's going to be your aha moment? Or if you got a coach that's struggling on your team, what can you do to pick up the phone, call them up and say, hey, first of all, I want you to watch this video with Jen, or listen to Kiana's from last week and listen to what some of the just, you know, coaches are doing out there and having these aha moments. So I wanted to say thanks everybody for being on here. And I want to turn it over to Jen. Just say, you know, what's your last thing that, you know, you would tell it? That's my takeaway from this, that I would tell everybody, but you're the one that's done it this week and, you know, acted in a massive, massive way, and you've already blown out what your month was supposed to be in 2 weeks. So you're probably going to you'll probably blow out through 100 people. By the end of this month, you might have your class of 20, but I'll let you close it out with because this is all about you and what you've done. So take away and let everybody know what you think.
I just hope everybody takes something. And if for any reason you need somebody to vent to, whether it's personal or Beachbody or whatever, find that person. If you need me, I'll be there for anybody on the call, whether you're on my downline or not. I don't care. I've reached out to other coaches that were local and was rejected. You're not on my team. You're not on my downline. I can't help you. I'm not that way. I don't approve of that way, and I think it's wrong. And so I want everybody, if I've said something tonight that you kind of, it hit somewhere, but you're not quite sure where to go with it, or you know, it confused you or whatever, reach out. If you've gotten something and you're fired up, go with it. When you get a ball of energy to go with it, go with it. Don't stop, because that just is a snowball effect. And step out of your comfort zone. I know we hear it all the time, but you know, it's true. You have to step out, because honestly, we don't know what's going on behind closed doors. We don't know that business may be just about bankrupt. We don't know that, you know, that house of that successful person, or that couple that looks perfect and happy, and why would they need us? You know, I'm just a broke single mom with an income, you know, or whatever. We don't know what they're really dealing with behind closed doors. So never judge somebody thinking they're better than you. I look now, and Karen and I were laughing about this the other day, as I look at successful people now, like, oh, his wife just left him. He's losing his job. He needs me because I'm his savior. Oh, that one? Oh yeah. He ran over his dog this morning. His wife's having an affair with the pool man. Like I make up this whole scheme why they're not that great, because then I'm like, my life's good compared to what they're dealing with. And what are the chances they are? Hell, I don't know, but I don't care. So it's just putting this perspective that you can relate to and make it fun. It doesn't have to be this stressful, oh my God, I got to talk to people. Oh my God, I got to work Beachbody. If it's that way for you, then you're doing something wrong, because this should be fun and enjoyable and doing it with friends. This is a team, but it's my family. And it's growing every day. I don't know if there's any questions that were put in. I haven't read the chat to see if there's any questions, Blake, but.
Yeah, a couple. So we'll close that out. If people want to stay in for some Q&A, then I'll get these. Answer them. So one was, always, guys, go balls to the wall. Always. Always. Steve
Because
Osher,
you're going to regret it.
Steve Osher said, be relentless.
Yes.
So this is from Dalton, says, what is the change in the posts that is helping?
The posts were huge. I've always liked to do pictures or videos of myself. Pictures are always just easier, and you have your app and it just, you can do whatever. Instead of making it generic posts about, oh, I can make money, or you can make money, or this and that, I've picked it like to a topic. Like I look in my other groups and I see kind of what everybody's talking about or what they're stressing about or whatever. And one of them the other day was a military. The government wasn't taking care of our vets, and they don't. And my fiance is a vet, and so that really strikes home for me anyway. So I made a post that was specific, and it was brutal in your face. I don't know if anybody saw it, but it was, when you retire, is the government going to take care of you? Nope, they're not gonna. And so we have an option. So that got people talking to me. Another one was, trying to think what it was. Oh, it was just a picture of me and said, stay-at-home moms, and 3 question marks. I didn't offer a solution like, oh, you can make money with me. Oh, this is what I do. I went straight to the problem that people were having. And today I did want to, it's kind of etchy. I'm trying to see if I get anything on it. And it's basically about women scared to get naked in front of their husbands. That's an issue. And I see women talk about it all the time on other groups. And men are like, what? No, it's an issue, guys. It's an issue. And so I'm really focusing those pictures to a certain exact target. And I'm kind of seeing for me right now what kind of target audience I really have in that. But those specific targeted posts have, oh my God, they have made such a difference. And then anybody that has liked my picture, obviously, we're going to talk. And obviously, we're going to be friends now. So I'm literally adding over 20 people a day to my friends list. And I use the index card box. If you don't know what that is, we can do a chat on that later. But 20 people a day to your friends list. And those are people that have come to my page and said, oh yeah, I like that. Yep. That makes sense. Yep. The government's not going to take care of us. Yep. I'm a single mom. Yep. I hate getting naked in front of my husband. He likes my jiggly parts. I hate him. It's just looking at what groups I'm in and seeing what they're talking about and picking one of the targets a day and saying, bam, in your face. There it is. With the solution, with the problem. I don't have the solution yet. I don't want the solution all over the page. I want them to come and see what's this about. And in those 2 posts, I got 3 coaches. So obviously that worked for me. When they come to me and say, okay, what's this about? How can you help me? I'm a vet. Girl, let me tell you how we can help. And the first thing I tell them is thank you for your service. That's the first thing I tell our vets, because we wouldn't be here, without them. And that, I don't blow smoke, but I thank people profusely when they write me. And I find a way to connect with them personally as soon as they write me, so they know I'm human too.
Yeah,
so that's
this conversation with Karen. She's the one that, she's Mrs. Queen of Relevant Posts, and that's what we'll bring up when she's on here in the next week too, because that's what made a difference. That's stuff that's helping me too, as I'm starting to do that. But
not generic posts. The generic posts, anybody can do that. And that's what everybody needs to remember. There's coaches everywhere. And we don't need to sell P90X. I don't need to tell people, oh, I have P90X, oh, I have this, I have this. Everybody's got it. Yeah, but everybody didn't have me. And that's the difference. You're getting me. And I'm the special sauce that comes with your package because I understand you and I get you and I can relate.
Secret sauce.
Whatever. I'm special.
Are you, this is from Laura. She's acting. Are you actively seeking the new friends on Facebook, or are they reaching out to you?
Both. If they comment on my page, on a picture, let's say, I definitely write them back. But I also, and if they like a picture, if you like my picture or you comment on my picture, you're mine. We're going to be friends. Like, there's no question. When I go out and I actively seek them, I go to pages, I go to groups, a Bulldog page. I'm a Bulldog fanatic. My BNSF Railroad Wives page I go to. And when I seek out customers, what I do is I look for conversations that I can be a part of. And I'm very particular about what conversations I am a part of nowadays. So if somebody's being, on the wives page, there's a lot of people talking about infidelity. Their men are on the road. It's just kind of probably the same thing in the military aspect of it. And there's times I want to connect with them and like, oh, I'm sorry you're feeling this way, but I don't allow myself to do it. I don't allow myself to go into a negative comment posting thing. So I find comments or posts in a page that I have some input into, that I relate to, and I'll like somebody's comments and we'll talk and I'll give my comment. And if they start, yeah, Jen, I feel the same way, or this or that, then I go straight to their page and then I'll write them and say, hey, I saw that picture you took on the trip, or I saw your dog, or, oh, you have a Bulldog, we lost ours in January, whatever it is. And I add them. I don't hesitate to add people. I don't hesitate at all. And I don't apologize for it. If you don't want me to be your friend, then don't confirm it. I don't care. But if you're going to be my friend, then you're going to see what's going on in my life. And it's growing because of that. So I'm adding people, both looking for them and them coming to my page. If you come to my page, you're mine. I'm snagging you. It's like coming to my house. You can come to my house, then you better be my friend. You're not going to come to my house and drink my beer and sit on my couch and then go, no, I don't want to hang out with you. Okay, well, that's how I feel. So if you can take the time and come and comment on a picture, we can be buds. So I hope that answers that.
All right, good. Well, we're coming up on at exactly an hour, so I think that's
awesome.
No longer than that. So if anybody has any additional questions, then you can, maybe hit Jen up on Messenger or something like that, or post it in the group, and we can all add to it maybe. But with that, I'm going to close it out for tonight. Thanks all for being on here. It is recording. I'll do my best to get it up on the site for everybody to share it with everybody on your team who couldn't make it. So thanks a lot, and we'll see you next week. I think we're having the gal, I think her name's Sarah, went 10-star in 10 months from the start of the business, went 10-star in 10 months, and she'll be on our call next week, I believe, if she can make it. So
I'll be taking notes on that one.
Thanks, everybody. Thank you, Jen, for thinking about copious amounts of quality information that people can use and put into action right away. So thanks.
Bye, guys. Hope you guys got something. Bye-bye.
Bye.